Okay, it is Wednesday, August the 4th, and this is the main watch list. I have not updated the notes. I've been watching my weekly recap video, just trying to get another understanding of these, and looking at FERN was pretty nice, and comparing it to NSAV, which is somewhat similar, although I think NSAV was a bit better. Then FERN anyway is going to be morning panic, bounce play setups, RSH, and if it does a clean one, perhaps. DRNG, I'd like to see it uptrend. I'm not going to trade this for a morning panic bounce play. Yesterday was disgusting the way that one traded. BTBT just going to be a watch. It's just something to learn from. It's a NASDAQ play. If I were to be some kind of swing trader from the initial breakout, just in theory how this thing is playing, maybe it can be a follow-up breakout pattern if it makes a nice move today. If it gets to the high 10s. CPSL, this one could be a morning panic bounce play. Did it trade yesterday? How did it trade? It was alright. Yeah, I made a nice uptrend. Clearly shows it can bounce, but the volume is not really that nice. NSAB could be morning panic bounce plays too. It might be a little cleaner because it's not the first red day. KYNC, now I have it here on the watch list. I will be looking at this one for a potential morning panic bounce plays too, and it wasn't really that bad yesterday, so we'll take a look and see what happens then and there, but that's what I have for the moment. Alright, it is 9:40 a.m. and I had one trade here with KYNC, morning panic bounce play. I was looking at a whole bunch of other ones before I got to this one. And this one had a big volume candle, nice drop. I think it was down 10%, 11% at its most. My entry was at 936, which was right here, right after the big volume candle. Right, it did look really nice. It got as high as 292, and I thought, alright, is this thing gonna just do this? Gonna make a run already towards VWAP? Well, let's see if it turns around, because a lot of these, after the big volume candle, after a potential bottom is formed, it has a quick spike, and then the next candle or the next few candles, it kind of turns around and goes back really close to the bottom of the range. And I was lucky enough to get that here with this candle. At first I was like, I could take a buy, at 279 or something like that. That's where I had my limit price, but of course, the prices were lower when I put my order. So I just had it there at the limits. It's not like I wanted to get 279. It's just that I had that number there, which would allow me to get in a trade. And the price, the bid and ask, was at the lows. So I was kind of iffy about it. Okay, I could take a buy at 279. I did go a larger size because it did look a bit nicer. This is one that's had a nice run up. It's a lot cleaner than some of the other ones I'll go over. So I was in at 279, and I felt like I could have traded this thing a lot better. Even here, this thing is still higher than where I sold, but 279, I thought, okay, well, let's just see how it does. It keeps downtrending, and then it got as low as 27. So I took a buy at 271, which is near the lows, and basically my risk is 270 cracking. If 270 would have cracked, I would have immediately cut the trade. I might have been in the trade for 10 seconds had that have happened, but we didn't have that happen. And then it had what was this, 937. It had a quick spike to 29.5, and VWAP was right there, right at 3. So I thought, okay, I should probably place an order and try to get out. I'm just trying to play for VWAP. I'm not trying to do any fancy tricks or anything like that. Let's just see if this thing can do VWAP, right? It totally can, because this is a cleaner run up than a lot of these other ones. The setup is just overall better. I'm happy that this is a clean one, that I was able to trade here. And then I sold at 289, 938 right here before it started to turn around. Just look at how high the wick got here, and then this candle would open here, and then it went as low as 280. So that really messed with me, and I sold at 289. Right, it did touch VWAP at 3, so I was a penny off, and I could have tried being more patient. I felt like I could have been more patient with this one, but it does show some freaky wiki price action. And it hasn't been this well since I don't know how long ago. Like, this was kind of clean. So that was my sell there. Again, I could have tried selling for more. After the top formed at 3, maybe I could have tried selling here at 292, which would still be higher than 289, but it could have been much worse. I think I was looking at RSHN, but I don't know, something about it threw me off. One I was really close to trading was UAMM, and this one actually did it super nicely. So this one was a bit more sketchy because it was only up 1 day, but again, if I ever consider a morning panic bounce play on something that hasn't been up at least 3 days in a row, let it be something like this where it was up a lot the other day. I think I just that's why I missed this one. It had a clean drop. For that reason I was interested in it, but then I stopped looking at it when it had this super retarded like looking wick, right? I need to stop using that word, but this was, it opened here at 4, right? 4 pennies, and it went all the way to 45. I was like, what in the world is this? And that became the biggest volume candle, and because of that I just got thrown off. I was like, I'm not trading this. And then, maybe I could have considered a buy here at 41, risking 40, but at that time I was looking at KYNC, and I don't mind it. I like my KYNC trade because it has a nice run up. It was just higher odds of something working, and at the time all I saw was this uptrend here, which would have thrown me off. I didn't see it afterwards. It is on the other screen, but I didn't look at it. That's nice. I probably wouldn't have held that long. Probably would have been at 41 and then breaks past VWAP, and maybe because of the sketchy candle I'm thinking about this being a potential form of level of resistance, so I might sell here in the 45s if I were to have held past VWAP. I'm not sure because it's all in hindsight, but that's nice. With UAAM, I guess I'll consider it more for a morning panic bounce play. Yeah, that one was nice. I don't remember any of the other ones. BTBT still up training. CPSL looking like spaghetti. It's at 10.99, 11.01. This is nice. This could have been like a swing trade, but I'm not really that good at that. DRNG, I think I was looking at it, but it doesn't have like a nice run up or anything like that. It did have big volume candles, but I didn't like this one because of how close it was to VWAP, so I didn't look at it. KYNC, this could be a potential lower low setup. UAM probably would not be a lower low setup. I did not type that. UAMM, if it does like a higher low towards VWAP, that wouldn't be such a bad setup. I'll probably have these two in mind, and that's all I have for the moment. I don't like RSH, and I won't trade this one. So it was a larger profit, 54 bucks, 6%, but I could have traded this one better. Still, very happy that I traded it. Very happy to see that these setups are working better. Okay, it is 9:52. I tried going for a morning panic bounce play, higher low setup, and this one kind of price action really got me here. Like, it just really got me, but it wasn't that bad. At 9:51 I got an entry at 279, and I was basically risking 278 being hit on the bid. And as soon as I did at 278, it shows up at the bid. I was actually thinking I was going to get 281 because it was 281 by 279, like where it is right here. But as soon as I took the trade, like just some movement happened, and I got out. I got my trade at 279, and now it was by 279 by 278, I believe. This thing could turn around. This thing could have just messed with me, but yeah, 278 was at the bid, and I thought, all right, well, that kind of sucks, right? And then, okay, well, if 278 is at the bid, I should probably consider cutting the trade. Somebody takes 278 off the bid, 276 is there, and I said, okay, this is not looking good. I'm going to get out at 276, and as soon as I get out of the trade, it kind of just comes back to life the 279 by 281, like when I just started recording this part. And that was a tiny 1% loss. That was tiny $6 loss. I didn't trade as large as I did on the other setup. Here was just a $560 position, but you know, besides the fact that it threw me off, and sure, I could have probably sold for a tiny profit. You know, I'm going to cut the trade for that reason, and that kind of shows that the price action is either being really manipulative, and if I missed a potential higher low right here from this bottom, that's totally fine, but it could also just mean there's something wrong with this for a setup like that. So that's where I'm at. That's the second trade here. I don't regret that trade at all, but you know, that's bound to happen, right? Some bad timing, but I mean, 278 is getting you see, it kind of did something like that, right? And then 276 was being hit, so I got out immediately. But you know, when it does something like that, maybe this is not going to be the bottom. If it's a higher low here, maybe it will do a lower low, and then in that case I'll be more interested in trading it. So that's where I'm at right here. Okay, it is 10:12. This thing is having some sketchy price action. It could turn around here. I almost have a fear that if I were to try maybe a smaller size at, you know, 264, 266, I might miss it. But if it just like kind of, maybe it might just do like a little turnaround. Okay, I guess maybe it's not gonna happen. This is some sketchy price action. It has a large spread, and the bid and ask tends to just like at the same time just completely change price. So this is the lower low setup, morning panic bounce play. This would have been kind of hard to get in because you know, I'm not sure if it's gonna crack 25, if it's gonna crack 26, but maybe had I have been a little more focused, I could have been in the 262s. That could have been my fault right there. I didn't know Tim was having a webinar today, so I kind of jumped in on that, listened a little, and you know, that was all I did really. So had I been more focused, I probably could have been in here at the 262 level. But at the same time, I'm not going to get that upset. A little upset, but not too much, because this thing does trade with a spread, like not a penny spread, but you know, like a spread, you know, 276, 278. This is actually kind of close, but you know, it's been a lot wider. This could make a nice run towards VWAP. It stinks. You know, I could have probably been more focused. I could have definitely pushed myself more and gotten into it here, risking 26, getting in at 262, for example. This is great. Congrats to anybody there. I was not in it. I hope I can learn from this. Okay, it is 10:26 a.m. The price action is here trading with a spread too. It's kind of like KYNC, so I don't mind if I miss it. This was an ideally a late morning panic bounce setup. So it had this you know, drop right here, and then it kind of spiked, and I thought, all right, let's see if it does a thing where it kind of comes back to the bottom. It did, but then I was watching closely if it was gonna break under it or not, and it actually did. So that probably caused a bunch of bleeding. It's trying to bounce back, but it's late in the day. The thing is trading with a spread. In a lot of these cases, this time is not really that bad, the spread here, but I'm probably just gonna sit back and just watch this thing. A lot of these can uptrend because it trades with a spread. KYNC had a big spread, that's why it uptrended the way it did here. It looks like it's trying to put up a higher low, maybe an inverse head and shoulders I could consider trading, but yeah, this thing is just trading with a large spread. KYNC and CPSL, so you know, this thing could, in theory, you know, could have been max panic, cracks this level, turns around, but I don't like it that much anymore. It's late in the day. VWAP is dropping. I'm probably gonna call this one off, not watch it, at least not try to trade it. I might look at KYNC for an inverse head and shoulders. That's where I'm at the moment. Okay, it is 10:48. The bleeding had to stop eventually. I went off to do something else, and I came back to take another look. This is a turnaround from 42. Right now 46 is the high. Maybe an inverse head and shoulders here. Nothing really clear that shows that this thing is going to turn around. It kind of had another volume candle right here, and then it started to hold 42. I guess that's when that turned around. If I have to guess in the future, if I'm trading with a larger account, all of this in mind, I'll be considering shorting these because they like to downtrend a lot, 51 to 42. And then, you know, later in the day, maybe like after 10, when it starts to show any signs of turning around, I'll be interested in a buy, but I don't mind missing this. And then I can take a late buy at 44, you know, risk a certain amount but not be upset, because like the position is like $2 out of my $2,000 account. Like, it doesn't even matter that much, but it still pays the bills. You know, that's what I have in mind in theory. KYNC, I did see this here. I was waiting for this to turn around. If it could drop back, maybe I was thinking like 245. It never really did turn around except for here. That little wick at 246. What is this? 24 to 26. Not much range, but this thing can keep going. I was looking for an inverse head and shoulder head, but the shoulder just kept downtrending. Right, so maybe this can be the inverse head and shoulder head, shoulder. But when I see that happen, that when it fails, like it did here when it cracked, the pattern doesn't tend to work that well, but it can, because it's still on this uptrend, and it can try to like close like it did the other day, high, looking like nothing is wrong. It did something like that previously the other day, so that could be an idea. That's interesting. It kind of held this level here. This was higher than here, held 24. Maybe if I look at a one-day chart, when it comes to stuff like this that traded the other day, it might help me. CPSO doesn't really offer help with that, but KYNC could in theory have been something to consider like that. It did turn around here as it did there. That's a new way to look at it. I might consider that in the future. That might give me more motivation to push myself and trade this bottom instead of some other bottom or another downtrend, and then, you know, it will let me be more profitable. I'll consider that. Yeah, I'll definitely consider looking at a minute chart for more than, you know, one day or something like that. I mean, RSHN can turn around here, be a higher low, but I don't really want to trade that. VWAP is right there, and then this thing has resistance at like 84. Yeah. Maybe if CPSL drops to this 44.3 level again, maybe it can be inverse head and shoulders, but it's not perfect because it would have to crack 46 to be somewhat profitable. VWAP is at 49. That one is a possible setup. NSAV turned around eventually. That's nice to see. I wasn't really interested in trading it because, you know, I didn't like the price action. BT maybe it did an inverse head and shoulders here. That's where I'm at. Again, maybe CPSL for inverse head and shoulders, but it's not the best setup. I'd trade a small position. Okay, it is 11:45 a.m. I had to pick up a car from the mechanic shop, and I'm back. It's nice to see this inverse head and shoulders play out here with KYNC. I didn't think there was a really good chance, at least with listed stocks, when it has a shoulder, potential head, and then the right shoulder doesn't form, it breaks lower than the head, and then this is the new head, shoulder, head, and then the next shoulder. It doesn't work out most of the time. This one did work out. Maybe it's more likely able to work out on the OTC. I just was not here for that. Maybe in theory 248 I could be in, and then I risk 246 cracking. If 245 is on the bid and it gets executed, I will cut losses quickly. Nice uptrend to 27. Not the worst percent gain actually. It's not really that bad. DRNG, I'm just gonna remove it. It doesn't look that nice. It's still on the other watch list. CPSL, I guess it did do that inverse head and shoulders thing I was thinking about, but I wasn't able to, get in at another level. I think I had a chance to have been in this one. I do regret KYNC, this one right here. This one I could have been in, but I was distracted. I should have been more focused. I was looking at other things. That was something I could have done better with. NSAV, it's nice to see this thing touch VWAP. I don't really care for that one so well. And BTBT never really offered a dip towards VWAP setup when it was uptrending here. It did offer some volatility, but that's about it for what I have right now. Inverse head and shoulders, KYNC. I should have traded this one, should have been pushed more. I don't regret missing this one because it traded with a large spread and it was just a random dip. When is it going to actually, turn around? It did it eventually here, which was the inverse head and shoulders. CPSL, again, another inverse head and shoulders. Could have maybe been in here, but this one did trade with a large spread too. NSAV, BTBT, that's all I got. I don't think I'll be looking at the markets right now, maybe later in the day, but there isn't like a first day green day stock, or at least nothing that I've seen. I haven't really checked, to be honest. Maybe there's a nice percent runner that I might be interested in later. This one's a sub penny. This one's too expensive. It's just UAMM right now, which could do a nice run towards the end of the day. It's known to spike for more than one day, although it's very freaking wicky when it is. It's far from the EMA 4. I could watch this one for like some kind of higher low setup. Here's the first higher low. Maybe it does another one, but I like to see it spike and make a higher high, higher than here, and then do a higher low. Maybe the higher low is at VWAP after the higher high. I'm not sure, but I don't think I'll trade anything else today. That would leave me, that would have me up like 47 bucks or something like that. Alright, it is 6:20 and I am here to call it off. I just had two trades with KYNC, and that was one right here. And then the second one, what time was that? That was 9:51, so that was right about here. Thinking this could be maybe the higher low and it can uptrend. It didn't. It went lower. It went lower. Where was it? I think I should have pushed myself when it was trading around here, I believe. I'm not sure. This one was a bit too excessive. I think it was too quick. It did do an inverse head and shoulders. I wasn't there for this. And that was it. It did touch VWAP a few times. It did touch VWAP here. And that first trade was a larger profit because I traded a larger percent. Not percent. I traded a larger size. I could have went even larger, but I'm happy with that one right there. And then the second one, I went a little smaller because I don't like higher lows, and this one didn't turn out to be a higher low. It was a lower low, but it made two. So not really perfect. I don't mind missing this part at all, but this, I could have been in for this had I been there. This one I do regret missing. That I should have been better with that. RSA Chan doesn't do anything that I want. I'll be removing this one. It's going to be on the other watch list, but not here anymore. CPSL did eventually turn around, and I did regret not being a part of this, I believe. It's kind of hard for an inverse head and shoulders for it to turn back one more time to that initial setup. It did work out here, but this one didn't trade that nicely. NSAV, this one was nice that it did push itself past VWAP and make a nice uptrend. Maybe it can catch itself so it can be a better morning panic bounce play in the future. I don't mind missing any of this. This was disgusting, and that would have been, a sign that it's not really going to be nice. BTBT keeps uptrending. Excuse me. This looks very nice. I can probably try to push myself and get into swing trading, stuff like this. That does that nice breakout. Another one is Robinhood. I didn't look at it ever since the IPO, but this breakout at 40, this would be something I should have considered as well. That's pretty nice. Kind of gives me AMC vibes, although not as much. Very nice. It got as high as 84 with the halt, which is a double. So I need to get better with this. Listed stocks when it comes to breakouts. Maybe consider them for swing trading. KYNC, I could have done a little better in a few things, but overall not that bad. I did miss the ultimate bottom. I would have felt bad had I have missed the inverse head and shoulders by just hesitating or whatever, because this didn't look that bad at all, and it did touch VWAP 27 and the bottom was 24.7, so that's pretty nice in terms of range. It's not bad at all. Could have done this with CPSL. Well, that's all I got, so I look forward to more potential setups. I gotta keep getting better and be more focused, and keep going with larger size as long as the setups still seem to work. I need to keep working on a lot of things.